Morning, guys. Welcome to Words from a Friend podcast. I'm your host, Marty Carey, and this is the podcast that follows my book, Words from a Friend, a daily guide to a purposeful life. It's available at Amazon.com and BarnesandNoble.com. We're on a 365-day inner journey together, so happy and grateful to have you along. We're on day 123 of that journey, and today was a message that was broken up into 2 days, but it's short enough where I can bring it right into one, because it was one message when I wrote it. And it's actually the May 17th and 18th edition. And it's Truthful Intentions and Living in Power. Truthful Intentions / Living in Power. Goes like this. Below are a set of core beliefs that have helped me bust out and intentionally live life in the present and to the fullest. If I happen to veer off course from time to time, I simply center myself back in these knowings, in the truth. They always work because they are universal truths. And here they are. There's 4 of them here. Number 1, we are eternal beings on a temporary human journey. We all return home once our mission here is done. Our souls know this mission. Our soul knows our own mission. We must uncover this mission by letting in more light and choosing to be a giver of it as our purpose, and give it through what we love to do. Give it through what we love to do, because that's going to be the most powerful giving we have, is when we love what we're doing. You know, when we're feeling that feeling, well, that just extends outward into everything else that comes in you. You're in a good vibe. You're in a good vibe. Well, we create our own good vibe, and we create our own negative vibes. So many times we give that honor to somebody else who's making us feel that way. But, you know, we're choosing, because we are our own vessel. We have the power to make that choice, to not absorb other people's stuff, and just to stay in that good self ourselves and do more of it in our lives, which keeps bringing that truth more up in us. We feel it more, and we don't want to bother with the other. We don't want to bother with it anymore. It's not serving us. And we see where we get ourselves in trouble when we veer in those directions, and we veer off what we love to do, where we love to be, who we love to be with. You know, it's not always going to be that way. And we're, you know, the world is the world, but we can learn to stay in that vessel of ours and give our best from it in every situation. You know, that is taking over. That's taking over your mindset and taking charge of it. And you're giving that charge to your soul. Your soul takes over the mind. And that's your guidance. That's the best guidance there is. And you already have it. Okay? Because you are the soul. You're already it. And all the stuff that this earth just puts upon us just gets covered over in that truth. And every day we're just going, oh, that was another lie. Boom. There was another one I thought was true. Boom. Out. And so many of those are our own beliefs about ourselves. And we've lived them for so long, because maybe somebody said something about us for so long that we began to think it was true when we were younger or whatever. You can bust out of that too. You don't have to believe any of that. You are the creator of you, and you get to recreate you any way you want to. Okay? And if you're using the light, that's it. That's the growth. That's the growth lamp. That's the growth lamp, is your own light. All right. And it has much to offer, much to say in place of the old scripts that we talked about yesterday or the day before. Much to say that's different than that. And you have to start speaking that. You have to start yapping that truth. And, you know, I say this podcast for me has been a great tool of growth for me personally, because I get to see myself reading the words that I wrote, and which kind of just keeps installing them and keeping them fresh as a purpose. It keeps my purpose fresh. It keeps my remembrance fresh, which is what I wanted to do for everybody out there, is keep your remembrance fresh and growing and growing. It just gets rid of that amnesia, the fog of the ego, until you just grow in remembrance, and you use that as the guide. Oh yeah, I remember now. I'm much nicer than this. And then move in that direction. Not nice, but kind, truly kind, because you know that it's the same. Now you know that it's just one family of light, and we've all been treating each other like shit for centuries. because of a control system that doesn't tell us that we are our own path to the divine. We are our own piece of the divine. We are our own communication with the divine, direct to it, direct, because nothing else is needed. You have a heart. You have a soul. You are it. You are the light that we're seeking. We are already it. So when you embody that and you embody that knowing, well, then you can chuckle at the other stuff. You can laugh at and this is an important thing. You can laugh at yourself. What you're laughing at is your ego. Like, you take things so personally, yet, it's like when you're certainly with your best friends, they can say anything about you and you're going to laugh about it because you go, well, they know me best. They know that's true. I know that's true. Right. But in yourself, you can say, okay, well, are those some things that I want to change, or are they just something that I love about myself and I'm leaving it right where it is? But those are the things that you examine. Those are the things that you can examine and regarden. Okay, we have that power. Number 2, look at others as fellow souls, not separate humans. We are all here in the soup. We're all here in Earth soup. Treat everyone the same. Give love instead of judgment in all your interactions. Accept people as they are. If you can add light to their lives, do it every time. Give up negative judgment of yourself and others. Be done with it. Well, it is hard to be done with it in this world, but certainly you can balance that into a much better way. And the more you practice it, the better you get it. And it's just like, well, you learn to balance out your own life in many different ways through thoughts, words, and your actions. Your actions in that growth can be just certainly doing different things that you've ever done, doing more things that are exciting to you and that you want to grow through, whether it's just, okay, I want to take up hiking. I just want to be out in nature. I'm stuck in an office all week long and it is just nothing but ego. And I got to get the hell out and be in that God space by myself or with a friend that just gets it with me. We can laugh through the woods and then we can be quiet in those woods and we can just listen for the truth and we can sink into it and be with nature, which is love itself. Nature is another form of God's love. It's alive with that same love. Trees, plants, birds, all of it, animated with that light, animated with light. That life force is light, okay? And that life force of yours, you can make brighter and brighter. And what does it do? It forces the darkness out, forces you to see it first, and reckon with it and let it, and then let it go and say, can't do this anymore. Can't live like that anymore. Can't treat myself like that anymore. Can't treat others like that anymore. All right. I moved into my heart space and none of that makes sense anymore. None of it. So you move in that direction and watch what happens to your life. Just keep saying yes to it. And it's just God's unconditional love unfolding within you as you. And you'll express yourself in many different ways as a result. Beautiful ways. Beautiful ways. Under all that garbage, we're all beautiful. Under all the garbage and the judgment of ourselves and others, we're just love's beauty. And when we move into that and embody that and just see it all around us, when we have the eyes to see it, rather than just focused on all the garbage they want us to focus on, you get your sight back. You get your eternal sight back. You give it back to yourself. All right? Number 3, give up assuming. Never assume that you have the full picture. You don't. You can't possibly. Live in the present moment and let things unfold naturally. If you're giving your light, things will always turn out for you the best and for your best and highest good. Be open to it all and give others the benefit of the doubt until you have all the facts. Well, ego doesn't like to wait for facts at all. It's just, all right, this is the way it is. It's the way it is. And then all of a sudden somebody goes, yeah, well, what about when you do that? And then you go, well, that's different. Is it? Is it different? We really got to examine what we let out of our yapper before we let it out, because if we don't have a good mirror of ourselves and good self-awareness, we're just Judge Judy all the time, convicting other people for a lot of the same things we never take account for in ourselves. Happens every day. The things that we lash out for others at, we haven't taken account for. Right? That's the ego at its finest. Gaslighting. Gaslighting. Son of a. All right. Number 4, give only what you want to see show up in your life. This leaves a lot out, like anger, drama, hatred, revenge, and judgment. You get the picture. And then if your life becomes only about giving your inward energies, you want to feel for yourself, you can't get it wrong. Give love, give kindness, your time, your creativity, your smile, your laughter, your joy, and above all, give gratitude and gratitude for it all, because even the ugly bumps along the way showed you back to the way, if you're paying attention, if you're learning the lessons, showed you back to the way. It says, I can't live here. I can't do this. This is not me. I'm rising, baby. I'm rising. Okay? They help you to get to the next level. That usually doesn't become clear for a few miles past the bumps. And don't ever forget that. All right. Clarity comes a lot of times after we've been through the lesson and we're willing to stay open through the lesson and say, all right, God, this is for me. It's obviously here. So just guide me through to my best and to handle whatever this is with my best. And that is the intention you set. It's the intention you set every day for yourself, really. It is. That's the number one. Help me to do my best today and give from my heart space the best I can. I want to give those yucks. I want to give that laughter. Because I want to experience it too. So first time I see you, I'm looking for something. I'm coming after you to make something laugh. I'm going to pull something out of you for that, because that's where I want to be. And that's where I want you to be too. All right. That's because it just reminds us that all this stuff isn't that serious. A lot of it, it's a play. It's a play that's where we're crushing with that light that we're coming into. We're crushing the darkness with the light that we're coming into. That remembrance is crushing the light. Because the truth shall set us all free. So stop believing in politics as your God. Stop. Love is so much bigger than that. The universe isn't bigger than politics. That stupid game of the ego. Stupid game of the ego. It's just for craziness, chaos. It's awful. So we have to leave that. We have to move back to the heart if we're ever going to find ourselves and be able to live as a family on this planet. Because if not, we all know what will happen. So it's the light. It's the light that saves it all. That Jesus saves. It's the light. It's the Christ consciousness. We all come into knowing. The consciousness is coming into the remembering that, oh, right, we're all souls. This 3D world had us blind and separate, corrupted separateness, corrupted with a veil of untruth. Number 4. Oh, I already did that one already. Okay, so the more your mind stays on a state of gratitude, the more light and love will show up in your life. In other words, more to be grateful for. It's just, you got to see it. It's like if I told you, like the last time we talked, I said, you got to see blue cars. Just go see blue cars today. I want you to just see things you're grateful for today in any form or symbol. You see a bird, you're like, man, how beautiful is that bird? Man, look at this beautiful day. It's cloudy, but the rain makes me want to take a nice nap, and I'm going to do it. And that's just rest for your soul. All of those things, whatever your ego wants to make bad, you want to start practicing and say, wait, I'm looking at the wrong space. I'm going to look at things that, because you can focus on either. It's choice making. You can focus on either in life. And so many of us are focused on the negative because it's the easiest choice. It's just the gruel that's already in front of us on our plate every day for free. Here you go. Soak this negativity up and give that out and stay in the wheel of the matrix. That's what it is. The matrix is a negative force of ugly. And the only way we break out of that is remembering who we really are, which is the light. And that is our how we do it. We weave it into our own lives every day, which emanates out from us as our part in the new play for the new world that we want to create. Our part in the new play has to be different than our part in the old play for it to be a new play. And we can all do that. We all do that. We all moving back home to what's in here. We're all moving back home to the heaven within. And boy, that's the rise. That's the real awakening. Waking above all of it so we can see the absurdity and the buffoonery of it all and move forward as one family of light. So today, start establishing your own set of core beliefs. Let it from what you hear. From what you hear. When you start taking the new journey inward, you have to be a listener more than a yapper. You have to be a listener. more than a yapper, because the more you listen, the more you become instilled in it. The more you feed yourself good stuff, the more that knowing comes to you more naturally. It's like, these are just guideposts. These pages are just reminders. But the real work is done when you're not doing this, and in the real day, in your day. That's your work. We talk about, you're going to church on Sundays and you leave church. It was like that when I grew up. It was like, yeah, you go out and you're doing all the things that you're supposed to go to church for after church. But really, you are the church. Your heart is the church. The heaven is within. Your church is wherever you are. You are the church, right? And the ministry is just always giving your best self. It's always giving that love that you want to feel yourself, giving what you want to receive. And boy, when you do it, it just comes natural. It just comes to you naturally. That law of love, law of attraction, law of love. Give what you want to receive. And that's the secret sauce. It is the secret sauce. And boy, when I started learning that, I said, yeah, but who does that? Who actually lives like that? Because I see all these churchgoers and they're coming out of that church and, they're going, hey, doing all the stuff they normally do, during the week. And it's just, takes them away from that listening. You're listening for that hour and you're going, oh, when is this over? Well, because it's just all the same stuff. And you are the church, and you are the receiver and the transmitter. That's the better way to go, honestly. I mean, God bless church. Great, fine thing. Not saying anything about that. I'm just saying that's where you find that's great. And there's truth to be found there for sure. But I want you to know that the truth is within. The truth, you have all of the equipment to draw in the messages from the truth yourself, because you're a piece of it. And you're tuning yourself to it like a tuning fork to the truth. Whereas they've got us tuned like way over here. So we don't kind of know. And then we're ego and we get all pissed off and we get grouchy and we see each other as separate. When we align, boom, we're aligned with knowing. Well, then we see what our ego is going to do way before it does it. We never even get there because we chuckle at it and go, yeah, okay, I know how to handle this now. I know exactly how to handle this. I know what's going to come out of me is going to be a good force, and I'm going to try and figure this out and get it down to the brass tacks of what needs to happen, rather than going around the block with drama. Figure out what has to happen and then just making it so, without all the hoopla. So much of life doesn't need the hoopla we give it. It's just the ego taking over and going, I got to be mad about this. I got to complain about this. I got to do this about this. Yuck. You can leave the yuck in your that's in yourself. You can get it out. All right. So, and it usually takes a lot of yucks, a couple of yucks, and it's out of there already. Some laughing takes it away immediately. Some good belly laughs. It's the best medicine on earth. So you'll begin to feel different and just plain better. You must be the change. You always say, be the change. Well, the change is just going back home to who you've always been in all of eternity. You're here to learn and grow for sure. And you take that learning and growing and you emit that, you put it through the filter of light that you're doing, because there's lots of dark in there that you can transmute and say, okay, what was the lesson in there though? There's lessons in all this darkness. There's lessons. So you've got to learn to sift that with your sifter of light. And what comes out of there is the truth. What comes out of there is the lesson, the growth, the thing that you can implant in here as wisdom, so that you have that to walk as part of your journey. I have more wisdom in knowing that if I encounter this again, it's not a big deal. I have that wisdom. And then you share that wisdom. That's how you pay it forward. Say, hey, I've walked down this path before. And if you're walking down this one, watch out for this over here. All right. And you can stumble over your ego here, and you can trip here in arrogance. You can trip here in self-defeat. You can trip here in self-doubt. Don't trip over these things. And if they're there, they're just illusory traps. They're just traps. So you can avoid those traps by knowing that you're not them, and you don't have to walk into those traps anymore. They're just going to teach you every time you're going to go in them. And if you sink into that self-doubt, well, it's going to keep you trapped. It's going to keep you attached to that emotion, and you can't get out of that. So you take yourself out of that trap by going, I'm not going to doubt myself. Why would I doubt what I know when I listen and I'm aligned and I learn to trust myself and I learn to trust that higher voice within, which is much more subtle and quiet than the loud, bangy, clangy ego that's always three alarming us into into thinking, saying, and doing the things that defeat us before we ever get out of the gate. Okay? And that's taking charge of your ship, my friends. CTA today is let go of all the small thinking your ego wants you to react to. Become the light. You have to recognize when you're thinking small. You have to recognize when you're being small, when your ego is just being petty. It's just being petty. And you're picking at something just because you're entertaining your ego. Because the ego loves to pick at other people, loves to pick at their problems, but never likes to look at their own, never likes to look inward, because they don't like what they see, so they just avoid it. They're not going to do any work on it, so they just avoid it, and they project outwardly onto everybody else. It's like blah, it's like you're vomiting negativity all over the place because you haven't learned that is keeping you stagnant in a place, and you don't know why you're stagnating. You don't know why you're not growing, or you don't even care about growing, so you're stagnating anyway. But that is just slow yuckville. If you want more for yourself, you have to become the self that you decided to become before you came here. You have a mission. It's in your DNA. You can grow. You can grow just saying yes. Just saying yes, and opportunities will look like work. Opportunities will look like work, but you still say yes, because that's really so many times that's just such short-lived work to get into the flow of whatever that new thing is. That's why I would say short-term pain equals long-term gain. You be willing to screw up for a little time before you get whatever it is you're going to do. Be willing to. I mean, that's it. Be vulnerable enough to say, it's not about my ego. I want to learn. Be the constant student. You have to be able to be taught. No matter what age you are, it doesn't matter what age you are. You'd be taught by a child, and in one instant that they're in joy, and you're over here worried about something small, about how somebody forgot to bring the shrimp to the party. I know that one. That's an insider. But anyway, this is what I'm talking about. Small thinking, petty stuff. You're hungry, so you're hangry, and you blurt out some stuff, and then it just affects the whole day. So take care of your vessel, man. Be a good one. Be a good cell of light in the body of light. That is who we all really are. We're all in the body of light. Like I say, we're all in soup. Well, we can make that shit soup into a delicious gourmet soup when we decide to add our delicious, beautiful ingredients to it. Okay? So go out and add your great ingredient to the soup today. All right? That's the lesson for today. Much love and light, guys, to all you and yours. I'll see you tomorrow.